All right, we are getting everything together to go to the gym, but I got an errand to run first. I got to do some Amazon returns. All of this tech gear, I mentioned before, there's a lot of experimentation happening on the channel. I got to go return. Well, I'll just show you. I had big plans for it, but it's really just not working out, This gimbal over here, spin this around. I don't know if you guys can see that. Get this stuff out of the way. The Tech Scorp Mini 3 Pro. Very cool features, but the truth of the matter is, I could not. Things look. Now we're gonna not be able to focus on me. Okay, thank you. I'm the star of the show. Um, the truth of the matter is the nicer cameras and the nicer lenses require gimbals that have a bit stronger motors than some of those mini models, whether it's the DJI RS minis or Hohem makes a mini model. The Tech one makes a mini model. There's several different competitors out there kind of competing for the same space of a step above smartphone gimbals, but a step below full mirrorless or DSLR camera gimbals. And so I tried to go for the middle, and it's not my fault because it says its stated capacity is 2 kilos, which is like 4.5 pounds. And I weighed my lens, camera, cage, microphone, and that comes to like 3.5 pounds. So stated capacity 4.5, and it was still struggling to balance this 3.5 pound payload. And that's before you go and add like a field monitor to it or anything like that, any lights. So realistically, if I'm going to use a gimbal, I think I just need to bite the bullet and get the larger model. I don't want to do that because that means carrying around a larger gimbal, but it is what it is. I'm honestly thinking about getting the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. If you guys have seen that one, a whole lot of YouTubers use that. It's a completely different setup. It's not a gimbal for your camera or for your smartphones. It's a camera and gimbal built into one. But the problem with that method is it's lower quality footage because you can't put nice lenses on it. There are no detachable lenses, and you can't change the aperture. Well, you can on the camera inside of it, but you can't add a nicer aperture lens and several other considerations. So we'll see about that. I want it. It's like a $500 kind of a toy. And so you're talking about 300, maybe 200, 300 more than I would spend just on a gimbal by itself. But the gimbal gives you way more versatility, whereas this one has extreme amounts of convenience. You can literally put the camera and gimbal in your pocket. So I'm considering that. We'll see. But for now, I got to do the Amazon return for that and a couple of other things as well. And then we're going to go and knock out a back day at the gym. So we're going to film that footage for you, do some narration. I might even record the audio in the gym. We'll see. Just kind of depends on how busy it is in there. It is Sunday, so Sunday or weekend gym sessions can be a little crowded. But either way, we will move on with our day, say bye to Gilbert for a couple hours, hook him up with a nice little consolation. I always give him something on the way out. Little man, Dad's got to go to the gym, Got to go make the gains, and I got to do the Amazon returns. Somebody's got to go do all that stuff, man. So, see you guys on the road. Oh, little man wants to come with me, but they don't do puppies at the gym, man. I'm sorry. But in the meantime, yeah, I know you want this. Come on. Oh, got it. All right, love you, little man. Be back in a little bit. All right, from back whence you came. Good old Staples, hooking it up with the Amazon return. I don't know why Amazon returns always feel like such an annoying errand. Because honestly, they have made it pretty painless these days. You stop at a Whole Foods or my car is like going to self-destruct. All these warnings as soon as I turn it on. It's like, you need to change your oil. Check your tire pressure. I know, okay? I'm a guy doing a lot of different things. Anyway, yeah, so Amazon returns. Is it just me? But like, I put those off until the last minute pretty much every time. It's not like I go to Staples very often, and I'm not a Whole Foods shopper. and the UPS store isn't in my normal circuit of errands. So that's why I guess they feel annoying. But I mean, when I actually do them, I'm usually in and out in like 2 minutes, assuming there's not some ridiculous line. So it's really not that annoying of an errand, but I just can't stand doing it. I don't know if that's just me. Anyway, we are strapped in and finally ready to do the most important errand, which is the gym. We got to have our happy hour session beforehand where I chill in the car and do some of the more menial work beforehand, you know, the video editing, social media management, stuff like that. I usually sip my pre-workout in the car for about an hour before I actually go in the gym. And then once I'm in the gym, it's double work. It's the workout itself, and then there's the filming the content, which, you know, you're talking about tripods and getting the right angles. And I might try to do audio recording on this one too, just depending on how that goes. I like doing the voiceover stuff as well because I can be a bit more intentional with my commentary. But at the same time, there's just a different vibe to getting the stream of consciousness thought of what I'm thinking about while I'm actually doing the workout. A little bit more toxic thoughts, that's for sure. But I'm definitely in like the bodybuilder mindset when I'm in the gym more than when I'm sitting in my desk at home in CapCut editing. You know, when I sit down and do that kind of narration, I'm a little more focused, a little more amped up, got the pump. I mean, it's like your chemical balance is entirely different when you're in the middle of a gym session as compared to when you're sitting there at home, not pumped, not endorphins and dopamine flowing through your body. I think you get the picture. So we're trying to do a little bit of experimentation, as I've been talking to you guys about. We just returned the Fiyu Tech Scorp Pro Mini 3 gimbal. So that one didn't work out. Not as advertised. It said it could handle a 4.5 pound payload. No, it couldn't. Not even 3.5 pounds. So now we have to figure out a different solution for our stabilized footage in any kind of auto framing or auto following kind of footage. Because honestly, that was the main reason why I really liked the gimbal. I don't have that much run and gun video footage to record. Like, most of my recordings are of me. And so maybe it's nice to have the thing follow you while you're in the gym doing the set. But like, I mean, think about it. Pretty much every gym set you're doing, you're standing in place. I don't do CrossFit where I'm like sprinting up and down or showing you how to do HIIT training or anything like that. Like, I'm stationary sitting on a bench doing my workout. So I don't really need auto tracking technology for recording that content. And maybe if we're hanging out in the kitchen and I'm showing you how to cook something and I'm going back and forth from cabinets to the refrigerator or whatever, okay, I guess that could be kind of cool. Because it basically simulates having a cameraman who's following you around and making sure you're always framed in the shot. So, you know, is that cool? Yeah, kind of cool. Is it essential? No, absolutely not. I mean, people have been vlogging fitness lifestyle stuff for a very long time before auto following gimbals were even a thing. There was no Osmo Pocket 3. There were no gimbals with AI tracking technology, and people appreciated the content all the same. So that's not really a necessary tool in the toolkit for this channel. I kind of just want it as a toy. But it would also be good for some of the solo filmmaking content, some of the more cinematic things. Because the two big sells are the auto following, but also the stabilized footage. Auto following is important when you're self-filming. Stabilized is important when you're trying to get good, smooth B-roll out and about, or for whatever kind of cinematic edit that you're doing. So, you know, it kind of really just depends on what content I plan on serving up to you guys. I'm driving through like random neighborhoods right now because I thought I knew how to get to the gym from the Amazon drop-off point. Maybe I was a little overconfident there because I'm not so sure. Maybe this connects to the main road that I think it does. I know we're like generally heading in the right direction. This is what Siri and Google Maps, Apple Maps have done to our brain. Well, that says no outlet, so I better not go that way. All right, let's go this way. They've fried people's brains to the point where even me, living in my home city, having been here for 33 of my 40 years, I still pull up Google Maps just to get from place A to place B. Now, I mean, to be fair, the city that I live in is very sprawling, a million different little pockets and neighborhoods, side roads. So I don't think anybody knows the full city. You just drop them in a random place and they can get there. But you can kind of generally know directionally, all right, I think I need to go north, south, west, east. But yeah, anyway, soon we will be at the gym. Where's my pre-workout? Got that bad boy back here. One thing that I really need is a better dash cam setup. That is something that the gimbal would not have solved. And it's something that right now, this tripod holding my iPhone is accomplishing. And I know you can see some shakes in the camera as I go over speed bumps and that kind of thing. So don't love that. I need like a suction mount with a nice ball head on top of it. That sounds like really vulgar language, but if you're into camera stuff and videography, you know exactly what I mean. A suction mount with a ball head. Wow. Who names this stuff? Like Hugh Hefner? But yeah, for dash cam footage, I like these ride-alongs. There's just been so many people that I've watched over the years with successful vlogs about the fitness lifestyle. You know, Sam Sulek came on the scene 2 or 3 years ago, and that was honestly after I never retired from the fitness business. I've always been doing it in my personal life, but I stopped following the competitions and who's trending and all that kind of stuff a few years ago. Had other things to focus on, especially as I got into commenting on politics and being a missionary for the Christian faith, my career, you know, these other things that just tie up time. It's only 24 hours in a day, you know. But I basically, like, after CBum maybe won his 4th title at Mr. Olympia, is kind of when I stopped caring. And it has nothing to do with him individually. I'm just saying referentially, time frame wise. But it was nice to be there for the pre-CBum era. You know, I remember when Phil Heath was going for his Olympia number 7. Couldn't pull it off, though. Couldn't match the GOAT. Cedric, what's his last name? Cedric. I should remember. Man, that's like, I want to say like McMillan or something like that, but I know that's not right. But anyway, I remember he upset Phil Heath, the Gift. Always loved Phil Heath, though, you know. He had a nice, healthy sense of ego. Even that nickname, the Gift. Like, any pro bodybuilder has legitimately a gift from God in terms of their biological capacity to create such a rare physique, that amount of muscle. It really is. It's not single-digit percentage. It's point something percentage of the population who, assuming you work for 10 plus years, work being both the diet and the 5, 6, 7 days a week lifting routines, can even dream of a physique like that. And everybody knows at the pro level, you're also talking about the risk tolerance, the health tolerance of having to ingest very, very large doses of pharmaceuticals to get onto that pro stage, much less the world championship, the Mr. Olympia. So any of those individuals have a combination of biological gift, the gift of discipline, the confluence of private life things that have to line up in order for you to even do something like that. It's not cheap at all. Even the drug protocol to do bodybuilding at a professional level will cost you more than a part-time income by itself. And then the dieting, my diet is like $500-600 a month because it has to be pretty high in protein, which honestly isn't that much, especially to you guys who are eating out and blowing a lot of money on fast food and DoorDash and that crap. But the dietary demands of a Kai Green or a Phil Heath or whatever other Olympian having to eat 250 grams of protein a day, 5,000 calories, you're starting to talk about $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 worth of groceries a month, maybe $1,000 or more worth of pharmaceuticals per month. They have to have professional rehab, massages. So, I mean, that's why I never wanted to be a competitor. No matter how good my physique ever got, I didn't want to push the health boundaries of far more than TRT being required. You need a lot more than 200 milligrams of testosterone a week to get on the competitive stage at the pro level. And so then the question is, well, maybe don't take it to the pro level, just do the amateur level. At that point, I'm asking why. I mean, do you need to like prove it to yourself, or do you need to prove it to other people that you can diet down to 5% body fat? Do you need to prove it to other people or prove it to yourself that your physique is better than anybody else in your tri-state area, in your county, in your state? Like, I've never needed to prove that to anybody. It was always for my own satisfaction, knowing the mental discipline and the fortitude it takes to do all these things would pay off in all these other ways of my life. Like, all of that was fulfilling enough. I didn't need a plastic trophy or even a metal trophy or a necklace to wear. I didn't need to compare my physique to 5 other guys, 20 other guys on stage to validate the sacrifices that I know I sacrificed over those years. You know, like if I diet for 3-4 months to get down to 5, 6, 7% body fat for summer, just looking in the mirror is satisfying enough for me. I don't need anybody else to put their stamp of approval on it. Job well done. And even beyond that, you did a better job than all these other. I don't even care if I did a better job than people in my city, in my state, anybody I know. Like, I do it all for me anyway. So I've never been a competitive bodybuilder, never interested me in any way. Now, I follow the sport of competitive bodybuilding just because it's entertaining and it's inspiring. And that's how I learned how much it takes and why I'm certainly not willing to go there. But anyway, I was talking about Sam Sulek and how he blew up over the last few years. Really appreciate his content for the simplicity of it. And seeing the success he has had is very, very inspiring. Whether or not you can accumulate the same success without playing the same game of trying to become a professional, which is obviously Sam's ambition, already has become a professional, I think you still can. I mean, you look at guys like, for example, Christian Guzman, who's the one I grew up with, who nowadays is balding and getting old prematurely. But, he blew up. He's the owner of Alpha Elite now. He has not a gym, not a couple of gyms. He has like a miniature city he built down in Texas. He's buying his dad luxury sports cars and all kinds of stuff. He's got energy drink lines and clothing lines and all these other entrepreneurial endeavors. I mean, I remember watching him when he was bringing groceries back to his dorm room, recording on like an iPhone 10 or something like that. And so that just tells you that I'm guilty of this. I fall into the trap of, well, in order to have the best content that people are really going to like, you got to have these $250 wireless mics. You need to have a $1,500 camera body, a $1,000 lens. You might need to have a gimbal if you're going to do this other content. And then I have to remind myself, that's actually not the success formula. I am a perfectionist. I do take pride in my work, so I want everything to be the best that it can be. But it's really about personality. When it comes to building a platform, a following, that's why the platform I built for politics and religion and all of that work, Beholden to Truth, this hoodie right here, this is actually the first hoodie I ever made. Accumulating 120,000 followers over on Instagram, building that successful platform, monetizing it a bit, but not in a big way. That was about the personality. That was just me being willing to sit in front of a camera and share my political and religious evolution over the course of 5 years. As I learned things, as I learned how the world worked, I shared them candidly. When I made mistakes, when I made bad predictions, I said that I was wrong. You know, the humility that it takes to do that in the political realm is the same thing that it takes in the dieting and lifting realm. When you blow your diet or when you get injured or whatever else happens, you own it. You're humble. You say, I'm going to do better next time. You say, hey, we're all human. The whole point is to lessen the frequency with which we fail. So let's finish this pre-workout. Let's switch over to work mode while I'm sipping the rest of this. I got this video to edit for you guys. Yesterday's chest day. I want to get that finished and narrated. And then this vlog will be included in the day after's back day that we're about to go in here and do and film content for. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. If you want to support the platform and all of my work, head to beholdentatruth.com where you can support me by getting yourself some very aesthetic hoodies. Not this one. This is a 1 out of 1 prototype that never made it to the market. But if you've seen my Save Europa line and my Anti-Zog line, there'll be an ad for those later in the video, or you'll see actually the Save Europa tank top underneath this guy right here once we get in there for back day. If you know what Save Europa means, then you know. We got some people we need to save. So if you want to support that mission, head to beholdentatruth.com. That's also where my ebook for the fitness lifestyle, all of your critical knowledge for dieting and exercise is included in that book over there. So let's wrap this up and let's get into the gym. All right. Gym is fucking packed, so I tried to find the least crowded area to get this workout in. I'm up in like the circuit training area, you know, where they do like 1 minute on each machine. You're supposed to go through them all. Yeah, fuck that. We're bodybuilders. We're doing 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps each. So let's get this tripod set up and let's get into this back day. We got to do some stretching first. Sorry for the music. Can't do much about that, but let's get this done. All right, first things first, we gotta do a little bit of stretching here. We're gonna get to the top of the machine, stretch out the lats. Pulling our head through our shoulders. And with my hands up on this bar, I'm gonna imagine that I'm gonna start doing a pull-up, initiating the movement with my lats. All right, so how back day works, you've got 4 movements to do. You need half those movements to be horizontal pulling movements and half of them to be vertical pulling movements. So to start things out, I've set up on this seated row machine here. Overhand grip, see my thumbs here. One thing you'll note is that I'm not doing this. I'm not swinging. There's nothing happening with my lower back. My torso is staying perpendicular to the floor. It's not coming back to like a 45-degree angle. And I'm imagining pulling my elbows down to my back pockets. Nice squeeze at the end of the rep there. All right, bump the weight up just a little bit. One piece of advice I heard a long time ago in terms of how much weight to use, if you can't pause the rep at the full extension of it, then it's too much. You should be able to control whatever weight you're using. So see how I can hold this back here? Chest up. Set. One more set of these, and then we'll switch to a vertical pulling movement. Probably like a wide grip pull down. And we're getting pretty close to popping the top on the pump cover because it's starting to get a little warm in here. It's cold outside though. It's like 36 degrees, right below freezing, right above freezing. I wanted to get an outdoor workout in, but not in these temperatures. Man, I got these BCAAs in here, and I put a shitload of citric acid in it to make it sour. I think I put a little bit too much in there. All right, last set of these. All right, we're about to do some lat pull downs. Something very annoying. My phone is not pairing to the camera, so I can't see if I'm framed up for you guys or not. So that's kind of annoying, but that's why you film in 4K. You know, if you have to do some cropping in post, you got the extra resolution to do so. Okay, if that's too much, that's too little weight, a little too easy. Let's bump that up a little bit. I can tell I didn't stretch my chest out enough beforehand. A little tight. You might say, why would you be stretching your chest on back day? Well, the way your pectoral muscles connect to your delts and your lats, if they're tight, then your arms are going to have a hard time fully extending. All right, second set. And then we're taking this hoodie off. And then it's going to be effing over. That's when we really start feeling good. When we can let the lats breathe. I'm trying to get my elbows not just down as far as possible, but also behind my back. Let's do a couple squeeze reps. 2, 3. Oh. Ooh. Finishing off with those squeeze reps. So it builds that mind-muscle connection. All right. It's a little too hot in here for the pump cover to stay on. All right, back to business. Back to business. How we looking? I can't even see myself. You guys are gonna have to tell me how I'm looking. There's no mirrors up here. Camera's too far away to see the preview screen. How does the serratus look? I think we might even do these single arm for the last 2 sets, which is going to mean dropping the weight basically in half because you're only using 1 lat for the movement. But the benefit of doing these single arm, use your free hand, come over here and touch the lat that should be activated. And when you're all the way down, you should be able to tap it and feel it contract. This is what teaches you how to trigger each muscle purely with your mind, not even with the weight. This is how you can flex your lats when you're posing with no weight involved. First, you need to learn what it feels like. Establish that mind-muscle connection. Oof. Yikes. Got a forearm pump over here, man. Same drill for the other arm. I'm gonna reach over here with my free arm. Nice squeeze at the bottom. Ooh. I think we might have to go outside after this. It's getting so hot in here. Go get some of that 36-degree cool Alabama winter temperature. All right, last set of these. And then we got to do a horizontal pulling movement, some kind of row. I guess we'll go ahead. Well, just trying to decide if I want to do them single arm or double arm. We'll do them single arm again. Feels so good. So when I'm doing these single arm, I'm really just flexing the repetition. What that means is I'm not trying to do an exercise. I'm flexing my lat, and because I'm flexing my lat, the weight is moving. Think of it this way. Everybody knows how to do a bicep curl, right? If you want to learn how to flex a weight into motion rather than just doing the exercise, imagine you're holding your dumbbell like you're doing the curl. You already know how to flex your bicep like this, right? Everybody knows how to do a bicep flex. If your arm is like this and you're holding a dumbbell, just imagine doing a bicep flex. And as you flex it, you will see that your forearm comes up. Same concept applies for every muscle group. Like if you're doing glute ham raises and you're laying on a bench on your stomach and you're, you know, bent 90 degrees perpendicular at the hips, if you squeeze your glutes, you're not thinking about, okay, I'm gonna raise my torso up from 90 degrees to parallel. All you do is you just squeeze your glutes and you will feel that your torso comes up because you're squeezing your glutes. Right there. The lat starts all the way up here in the armpit, comes all the way down. One more. Whew. All right. I'm looking around, trying to find some kind of horizontal row up here. This really is not the bodybuilder section. I'm not supposed to be here. Oh, actually, all right. I think I found something good to play with. All right, check it out. Found another good seated row machine. Honestly, I'd prefer to be doing something like cable rows, but up here, they don't even have any cables. And I don't feel like going to the more busy section to do this workout. It's mainly a gym etiquette thing, you know. If you're the dude set up on a tripod and all that, talking to yourself, you don't want to be in the middle of the whole weekend rush. All right, what kind of weight are we working with here? You know, different machines, 100 pounds on one machine is not always the same as 100 pounds on another machine. All right, that feels better. Let's start these out single arm. We'll do 2 single arm, 2 both arms. See how my torso is not swinging? What I'm not doing is leaning forward and then leaning back with every movement. My torso stays locked down. My chest stays pulled up towards the ceiling. As always, note that I'm overhand grip with my thumb on the top of the handle, not hooked underneath it. This does mean you can move a little bit less weight because you have less assistance from your forearm. Your grip strength isn't tying as heavily into it. But for our purposes, it's not forearm day, it's back day. Whew. I like this machine. It's got a good plane of motion. All right, next set, we'll do both arms. Up the weight a bit. This music is killing me. I think it's even louder up here because this is like the circuit training area and they're trying to pump people up, you know. BCAAs, nice and sour. All right, second set of these, third movement of the day. So we're a little over halfway done. See that? Chest up. Lock our torso in. Elbows coming down to our rear pockets. Squeeze right there at the end of the rep for a minimum half a second. Two extra reps here. Whew. Are we looking large yet? Guys, I'm left-handed, so I feel like my left flex is always, it just feels more natural. Like even when I do my right, something, it just doesn't feel like it looks as good psychologically. And maybe it doesn't, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting extra steps in today, having to go back and forth to turn the camera on. Usually I have it connected to my phone and just hit record. It's all right. I'll take the extra 400 or 500 steps throughout the session. I am trying to kind of stay in a calorie deficit right now. Not like an official cut, but I would like to get super sharp for the introduction to this channel. 10% is not super sharp. 7% is kind of what I'm aiming for, which isn't even beating my all-time best, but it's where we'd like to be. All right, third set. Move my feet up to the second one here. Really trying to get my elbows behind my back as far as my body will let me go. Keeping that chest up. A curve, slight curve in the lower back. No swinging of the torso front or back like this, but locked down. Let's do 5 more. Hold the last one. Whew. Man. All right. Got to move on to the 4th movement of the day. The grand finale. Don't know what that's going to be yet. Needs to be some kind of vertical movement. Some kind of pull down. I'd like to do straight arm push downs. There's nowhere to do that up here. So either we'll have to head outside to the freezing cold, or I'll have to go downstairs to the hella crowd. What's it gonna be? Either way, we're packing up and we're out of here, out of this little area. All right, let's finish this with some straight arm push downs. I'm probably stepping out of the damn frame, but ooh, love these. Probably my favorite back movement. All right, stretch the lats first to start the movement. Step the weight out. So you're starting the movement out with tension, chest up. I'm bringing my elbows down and back to my hips. And like I mentioned before, if you can't hold the weight at the bottom of the movement, you're using too much weight. The weight should not control you. You should control the weight. Golden rule, of which there are many. I'll show you something else on this movement next. Common mistake. People turn these into tricep pushdowns. It's not tricep day. It's back day. All right, it's about to be set number 3. Means we got 2 sets left for the day, and then we're out of here. We'll probably try to go hit some posing in one of these mirrors. Holy shit. I just caught my reflection from the mirror across the gym, and we're looking as wide as the Egyptian pyramids. And this fucking guy behind me keeps doing sprints on this loud ass machine. This is why I told you guys, I don't need to be mic'd up during the gym, because you hear my toxic inner dialogue. When I'm doing narration, it's just straight to the point, tips on the movement. Trust me, you guys haven't heard the worst of the worst. All right, but look, step the weight out. Get those elbows up above and behind your ears. Bring your chest up. See how my arms are straight the entire movement? Here's how people fuck this movement up. They do this. See how much movement there is at the bicep already? See how my arm just turned into a 90-degree angle rather than being fully straight? They try to do a row and then they do a tricep pushdown, okay? That is not what we're here to do. We are here to isolate this right here. This is your lat. So, reset, step it out, full stretch of the lats, chest up, arms straight. Let's get 5 more. Ooh, starting to cheat a little bit, but when you're on the next to last set of the day, a little bit of cheating is understandable. Oh, fuck. All right. 1 more set. All right, let's finish this up. I don't have a lisp, I got gum in my mouth. That's not throwing shade at a certain Mr. Olympia, by the way. We all love people with lisps. All right, but let's do this last set. And here's a small tip too. I actually dropped the weight just a little bit for the last set of the day, because I really want these to be slow, controlled. We're gonna do them AMRAP, as many reps as possible. Might call this a burnout set. Ooh, 2 more. Ooh. That's it, man. That is it. And now we just got to find somewhere where we can get some inconspicuous flexing in. which is going to be hard to do with how crowded this place is today. We'll figure it out though. All right, I think we found a decent enough spot. Let me get centered. We are feeling large, got a great pump, excellent back day. Serratus looking peeled. If I shaved, you'd actually see a little bit better chest striations there. Most muscular. A little bit of a nip slip going on there. For this one, you really need the camera to be flat on, and it's kind of angled. I'm getting a little lightheaded. Got to do the Frank Zane. What else? Bam. Twisting those pinkies in, making sure the elbows are up to the shoulders. A little bit of a lean back there. All right, rather than some mirror shots, we'll just get some straight on. We gotta zoom out a little bit. I'm too big for the frame. I know you guys run into that all the time, right? Being too big for the frame. Let's bring it out a little bit. Honestly, it looks better in the mirror. All right. That is going to do it for back day. I'd say we crushed it. Despite a very busy gym, still got in here, didn't really get in anybody's way. This gym is a very large gym. It's 2 stories. I don't know what the capacity is, but there's probably 1,000 members. I don't even know. It's a 10,000 square foot gym. So there's a lot of different areas to train in, which is really helpful. So, certain areas are really intended for certain things. Like this area is for kind of like group classes and personal trainers to one-on-one their people. That room I was in upstairs is really intended for circuit training, where there's 15 machines and you're supposed to do like 1 minute on each of them in a 15-minute circuit. Then you have your main strip down here of all the free weights, the cages, racks, and all that. You got your turf. But we really ended up using a couple of different areas just to get things done and get out of people's way. Really good day though, I feel great. I've been in a calorie deficit for about a week, getting kind of lean, not super lean, but give me another 2 weeks and we'll be pretty damn lean. Hopefully the audio turned out on all of these. I honestly don't know. I need to look at some of the gain settings on these DJI mics, especially in this environment where there's the loud ass music playing at the gym. I don't know how much of that it's picking up. So those are things I'm gonna have to play with, keep experimenting, but over time, you guys, we're gonna get the best possible experience for you guys to travel along, learn everything you need to learn in regards to fitness lifestyle, dieting, bodybuilding, hypertrophy routines, strength training, etc., etc. So let's get out of here, man. It's time to go home. All right, let's get ourselves home. Oh man, how's the pump looking in the sun? Wow, enormous. Do you see the serratus there? Holy cow. All right, anyway, enough gratuitous self-appreciation. Let's get strapped in and get ourselves home. Had some thoughts I thought I would vlog about while we're on the way home here. I'm gonna take a sip of these branched chain amino acids and then we'll get on our way. Oh boy, brain freeze. There's a few small things you can do to make your gym trips all the more enjoyable, make yourself look forward to them a little bit more, make them feel like a treat, you know? And part of that is, assuming you're controlling your diet, getting to have something that's just flat out yummy, something that tastes good, but it's still 0 calories. And that's how my pre-workouts are to me. Actually, the whole reason I call it happy hour before the gym is because, you know, most people's happy hour is going and getting a beverage that they like, that makes them feel good after work, whatever their stressful day was. That's why it's called happy hour, it makes them happy. Well, I mean, this for me was 10 years ago. After work for me, while everybody else was leaving the cubicle farm and going immediately to the local brewery or pub or wherever else, I was going straight to the gym. And the beverage that I was reaching for that made me happy was my pre-workout. And so getting a good pre-workout that tastes good, maybe even maintaining a stock of a few different ones. I'm a very frugal guy, so when I find a pre-workout on sale, which typically, by the way, a good price is $1 or less per serving, so $30 for a tub of 30 servings, I would stock up on that flavor, right? Just because I'm always trying to penny pinch. But then when you buy, 3 tubs of blue raspberry pre-workout and you're taking, 1 serving a day, that's like 90 straight days of the same flavor of pre-workout. So do yourself a favor, and when you catch it on sale, hopefully they have multiple flavors on sale, go ahead and get a few different ones. That way you're stocked up and you can enjoy some variety. But that happy hour beverage, it tastes good, it's sweet, it's going to get you the ingredients that you need for a good pump, caffeinated so you can focus, pull you out of that end of the workday kind of grogginess. Or if you're some people, like I was at one point in my career, and you're trying to hit that workout before you even start the workday, holy cow, man, I remember those days, trying to wake up at like 5:30, get to the gym by 6:30, done by 7:30, in the office by 8. You're trying to take a shower at the gym, so you got to bring a change of clothes. I mean, the grind is real. I used to do all of that. In the last 5 years, post-COVID, I found the work from home life, working remotely, infinitely easier to accommodate the lifting routines and everything else involved with bodybuilding. So if you can find a career that allows you to work remote, that will absolutely help. But hey, guess what? Up until 2021, all of the bodybuilders ever before that weren't working from home. You know, some of them may have been doing like client training from home or something like that. But even that's a very new phenomenon. I mean, most successful bodybuilders for 99% of the history of bodybuilding had jobs that they had to go to. And a lot of them were physically demanding jobs because that's kind of naturally what they lend themselves to. And so they too were waking up at the crack of dawn before their job, trying to slam a bunch of caffeine, whether it was black coffee or whatever else, Red Bulls, get themselves to the gym, all before the real work day starts. Or in my case, I usually preferred to try to do it at the end of the day after the work day. I don't know why. I mean, either way, it all mathematically ends up being the same. It just means you get home an hour and a half, 2 hours later. It's going to kind of depend on what's going on in your personal life. If you have family and kids that you need to be taking to school, picking up from school, other obligations, then obviously you'll have to Tetris your schedule around the needs of the fitness lifestyle. But 11 years in, I have always found a way. I've done the lunch break gym sessions before where everybody else is saying, hey, we're going to Chipotle. You want to come? Sorry, I'm going to the gym. That's what I got to do. I got to go to the gym and I got to eat this box of Tupperware for my lunch. You can all look like shit, look sloppy, be weak, be sad when you look in the mirror, be uninspiring to everybody around you. I'm not taking that path, okay? Sorry. I would like to be an inspiring individual. I would like to be proud of myself, not to the point of sinful arrogance. That's not what I'm talking about. But you should know that you have worked harder than other people, at least in this facet of your life. It's not to say you're a harder working person, because they may be working on other things hard as well. You never know if they have a side hustle, if they're raising kids, these other things that are hard and demand work ethic and whatnot. But you can objectively say, in this goal, in this facet of life, looking around, I know for a fact I am working harder than everybody else. Okay, I know for a fact that I am. I know that I am more disciplined with my diet. I know that I'm more disciplined with the gym routines. Okay, I just know that I am. I know that I'm more disciplined with my sleep. I know that I'm more disciplined with my alcohol and my drugs and all the recreational behavior. I just know for a fact that I am, because if you're not, then you won't get the results. The physique speaks for itself. There is no way to have a 1% physique while still sleeping like shit, eating like shit, skipping the gym, partying, doing all these drugs, drinking all the time. It's literally impossible. It's physiologically impossible. So anyway, tonight we have a nice intermittent fasting reward waiting for us. We're going to make some chorizo cheese dip with pork rinds for dinner. Going to blow about 1,200 calories on that dinner. And it's going to be like 100 to 120 grams of protein. And then immediately after that, we're going to have some homemade ice cream. What flavor? Maybe Cinnamon Toast Crunch, or I have another flavor that I can't remember that I pre-made. The Ninja Creamy, you guys. Talk about a life hack. Man, look how overexposed this is. I'm learning all these terms in terms of videography and cinematography, but this harsh daylight, can I do that? Oh well. You'll just have to accept when we're vlogging from the car, I can't put like an ND filter on my phone. Oh, more videography terms. But the intermittent fasting lifestyle, I don't get a post-workout meal. My workout's usually done by 2 p.m. every day. And then I have some other family obligations that I always have to take care of in the afternoon. And then at 6 p.m., sharp, every night, 6 p.m. is when I get to blow 2,000 to 2,500 calories when I'm in maintenance mode. Currently, when I'm trying to shave off 5-ish pounds, I'm trying to keep it at 2,000, maybe 1,800 calories, which is not a lot. I mean, the average human being, adult male, who doesn't even lift needs 2,000 calories per day. So even if I'm just eating 2,000, I'm still actively shaving off 500 calories per day worth of fat. And 500 calories per day translates into 3,500 calories per week, which is, if you didn't know, the equivalent of 1 pound of pure fat. And for every pound of fat you are holding or lose, you lose also 1 pound of water. So basically, if you have a 500 calorie deficit per day, then you'll have a 3,500 calorie deficit per week, which means you'll shave off a pound of fat and roughly a pound of water per week. So that is the calculation for this little mini cut, just to sharpen up for the launching of this platform, not a full-fledged 3-month cut or anything like that. It's the middle of winter time. Honestly, I have no business trying to get down to 6-7% body fat in the middle of January. You know, my pool is shut down for another 4 months, and I'm not going on any cruise vacations or anything like that. But when it comes to showing you guys that I am a man of my word, when I talk about these matters of discipline with the dieting, when I say that I can get down to 7% body fat, I have to show you that I can do that. Now, if you've been along for the journey on my other YouTube and social media before, Instagram, you've already seen me do that. I've even showed you the clinical data, the readout, 5.7% body fat. Was that 2 summers ago? You've seen the pictures. You already know I can. But for those new travelers who are just finding me as we kick off this new platform, Christ Culture Fitness, here on YouTube, you want to see me do it? You want to see that I'm actually a man of my word? Fine, I'll show you. And I genuinely enjoy it. I like the monk phase where we just say no. Like they taught us back in 3rd grade when the DARE police officers came and they said, "What are you going to say, kids, when Johnny asks you if you want to smoke a cigarette?" Just say no. Well, in this case, yes, there's going to be the peer circle, the family, maybe even spouses, partners, or whatever, who are going to tempt you with all of the things. We want to go out tonight and drink, or it's a birthday party, it's an anniversary, it's Christmas, it's Thanksgiving, it's whatever, it's some reason why we should all eat like shit. Those temptations will arise, and the DARE police officer is not going to be there to remind you, say no to these things that are unhealthy. You're a full-fledged man, okay? You're a grown-up now. It's on you. You are your own DARE police officer. And in this case, we're not talking about smack or weed or speed or the devil's lettuce, all right? We're talking about French fries. We're talking about Coors Light, cheesecake. We're talking about going out. No. None of that shit. Lock it down. Not everything. You don't have to be like a literal monk and remove all aspects of pleasure from your life. In fact, you watch my channel, you'll see that I eat like a king. I eat entire large pizzas. I eat cheesecake regularly. I eat ice cream. I eat French fries. I eat burgers. I eat everything you want to eat. But you have to be patient because you earn that privilege. Once you have stacked 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds of muscle on your body, every 10 pounds of muscle that you accumulate allows you to eat another 250 calories per day without gaining any fat. No, I'm not just pulling these numbers out of thin air. Go look up the clinical research if you'd like to. I've proven them out in my own life. I started out at 125 pounds with like 6-7% body fat. After I crash dieted, got rid of all my body fat back in 2014, I went on like a lettuce diet basically and shaved every bit of body fat off my body. And that was not nutritionally or hypertrophically the smartest thing to do, to waste that time not gaining muscle. But it did establish a very clear baseline. At 27 years old, after I stripped all the fat off, I was 125 pounds. And nowadays I walk around at the exact same body fat, 165 pounds. That is 40 pounds of pure lean muscle mass added. And it did not take me 10, 11 years to do that. I got all 40 of those pounds in the first 4 or 5 years. It's what the clinical research data shows. Roughly 1 pound of lean muscle mass per year. That's what you can expect to get over the long term. 10 pounds a year, 4 years, 40 pounds. Also, what you will find in your own research is the average individual will max out their FFMI, fat-free mass index, aka the natural limit, after about 4 years of consistent training, of consistent adequate dieting, protein intake, caloric intake. And that was exactly what played out for me. It's like, seriously, if you just read the data confirms everything that bodybuilders already knew. Oh, you need to be in a caloric surplus. Oh, if you count calories and just have faith that a caloric deficit sustained over time will shave your body fat off, whether it's coming from dietary restriction, eating less calories, or it's coming through burning more calories through some form of cardio or activity, doesn't really matter. Some combination of both is probably ideal. If you just run the numbers, stick to the numbers, trust the plan, it goes like clockwork. I mean, like, so predictable that I had everything logged in Microsoft Excel for the first 7 years. Every day's calories, every day's cardio. Not that I did cardio every day, but I'm saying if I did cardio, I logged it. And I got it down to the point where for each bulking and cutting cycle, I could predict within 6 months, or I should say I could predict out 6 months exactly what I would weigh based on my planned amount of calories over that time. So, okay, I'm going to eat 2,500 calories for this month, like assuming I'm bulking, and then I'm going to say it's 2,700 calories for the next month, and then 2,900, and I'm going to cap out 3,000 calories at the highest stage of my bulk, and then we'll do a cut. And the cut will begin with shaving back down to 2,800, and then 2,600, and then 2,400, and I'll add 100 calories worth of cardio for these 4 weeks and 200 calories worth of cardio for the second month of the cut and 500 calories for that final third month of the cut. I add up all those numbers. I see how many calories that totals to. As I mentioned before, 3,500 calories, roughly 1 pound of fat. It's just formulaic. You got to trust me on these things, okay? But anyway, we are pulling into the subdivision. We're home. I'm going to wrap this up for you guys. Take care of yourselves. We got to get some editing done on that back day that we just smashed. If you're loving the content, like, comment, and subscribe. Far more coming. I might turn the camera back on tonight to show you guys this chorizo cheese dip with pork rind dinner that I get to have and my homemade ice cream. I cannot wait, but I got to chill for another 4 hours before I get to knock that out. But until then, you guys, take care of yourselves. America first, and Christ is King.